As I said, now Christina had asked me what is sorry, and he has asked me if you have a free will or not. Alright, you have a free will of your own. Especially human beings have it, not the animals. You have the free will to choose. We can say good and bad, righteousness and unease. Now you can choose to surrender or not to surrender this way, to be dominated by your own will. Now she asked me, what is the surrender? Surrendering, as I have been saying, that is to be done in three stages. Especially here, in this country that we will think rationalize and because it's not easy. If you can do it otherwise, you can do it automatically. Supposing God himself wills, according to your certain conception, I don't know what sort of conceptions you have, of course, God, but supposing you have certain conceptions, individual. Everyone has individual conceptions about God. And maybe that you see that he's so almighty and he's so great, just powerful, without thinking. But that cannot. So the first one is to surrender by understanding rational. Nobody is unconscious. Nobody is in the subconscious. You are all very conscious as to what you are doing and what's happening. So when you see that the divine force is flowing through me, it is coming out as vibrations. It is working out. You can also maneuver it. Then rationally you must know the will of that divine force. Because your will is still not up to that will of vibration. Still, when you rationalize things, you may not be doing the same thing as the vibrations you want. To begin with, that's it. Now you want to go to the right, but suppose you have to go to the left. For what? For again, for your evolution, for your more understanding of the for the dissolution of your ego. Now, ego and your will are two different. This is the point. I think perhaps that's bothering. Mm-hmm. Yes. I've reached that point now. Ego and your will is two forms. How? By finding out yourself. Now, what is yourself? Is the spirit. Alright? How do you know yourself? Because after realization, it vibrates. So your will becomes the will of your spirit, not of your ego. Because you have also super ego. And with ego, you have done mistakes. You have achieved no evolution. You have achieved nothing through your ego. But you don't trust your ego, don't challenge it, don't overpower it. But you replace it by the will of yourself. That's a part within you. The more you start learning about vibrations, learning what they're saying to you, how they teach you, you learn about yourself. For example, a child uses his hands first. He puts the hand on the hot plate when it's hot. Then on the cold plate, it's cold. Try it. He learns what is correct, what is incorrect, what is what, actually what is the reality. Actually in hot and cold there's nothing like bad and wrong, but is the reality. This is hot that burns your hand, cold that freezes you. In the same way, when you start using vibrations, you start learning about yourself. That's the first time you are using yourself because that self is so far not known. So the free way to know yourself is there. If you don't want to know, nobody will. This free will has to be achieved yourself. Within yourself, this free will is active through your ego itself, but not as ego, but the completely conscious mind. Now, there is a difference between the completely conscious mind and the ego. This differentiation must be taught. Then you will know what is free will and what is ego. Your pre-conscious mind is on the right hand side, and the complete right hand side channel, starting from your ego up to the Muladhara. The complete channel is the pre-conscious mind that you call as the mana in the Sanskrit language. This pre-conscious mind is the horse. Now, you also guide that. Now, the part that guides that horse is which part? Is that which guides you in that horse? Is it the ego or the whole thing? So, we should say that ego is known as ahamkara, is the complete. And the aham, I-ness. That is, I don't know in English what to call it. The one that I that does it. It can see also it's ego. We can say that is the shadow of self within you. Or there is someone who is all the time seeing. You are not connected with the self, but you know the details of the self. There's somebody who's watching all the time. We can say the shadow of that, which is spread in our being of the self, is there. We know what that was. When we are committing mistakes, we know we are committing. If we are thieving, we know we are thieving. That light is all the time there. That is the self itself. We know that it is there, but there is no other side the pot established. That is, you see the projection of that in you, but you cannot reach from where the projection is coming. That's one known as Kshetrajna, is the one who knows field, the knower of the field. Actually, it is the self itself. But his vision in us, the vision of that, you can call that's what I call as the shadow. The vision of that self, we are all the time conscious of. It is watching us even when we are alone, when we are in company, wherever it is watching us. This one in the Gita is called as Kshetra. Kshetra is the field, and the one is the knower. Actually, the knower is the self. But through its vision, through its power of knowledge, it is knowing everything, and we know that it is knowing. We, that is the ego part. The ego knows that somebody is watching. With Sahaja Yoga, what happens? that vision that you have throughout becomes the vibrations, becomes enlightened, in the sense that you can have a rapport with that point from where it is manifested. Did you follow? If you have not done. Like this is the light, alright? This light has an aura, or it has a light spread out everywhere. What will you say to that light which is spreading out? Apart from the light that is there. I call it the shadow, alright? Alright? So the light that is spreading out from there is knowing about what you are doing, and you know that shadow moves. It's like the shadow. You know in yourself what you are doing. And that is the shadow which carries all your deeds onto also your kundalini and puts it down there. That is what sometimes we call as human awareness. That light is the human awareness, as you call it. But ego is not the same. Because it can see the ego, it can see the super ego. But what you say is the I. The light that is closed in this room by this candle or by this light is what you call the I, the closed one. And this knows about everything. And you know that this light knows that what you are doing. This light does not know. It's just the opposite of that. This light that is inside this room does not know what you are doing. But through this light, you know what is in this room. Do you follow this one? Here. The light that is spread in the room, that light has no awareness. Alright? But because of this light, we can know what is in this room. Just the opposite is the light of self. The light of self knows what we are doing. And because of that light, we also know what we are doing. If you are unconscious, we would not know what we are doing. So that light or that aura of light sparks at the conscious moment. At the conscious moment. Like this, you can say, supposing this is the past and this is the future. In center is the conscious mind. At this conscious mind, you see the light of the knowledge, what you know.
Then the conscious is the self.
No. Conscious is the area in which the light of the self makes you aware of what you are. Like the gleam of the light passing through, you can say. From the self, the light is coming, alright? And it enlightens the conscious mind. And the conscious mind knows, in the conscious area, that light knows what you are doing. And you are also aware of that light.
What difference between the pre-conscious mind and the conscious mind in location?
Location is conscious in the center, pre-conscious. Alright? Pre-conscious is on the right, and conscious is in the center. Now the pre-conscious mind, whatever the pre-conscious mind is doing, we know in the area of the conscious mind, this light gives us the awareness of it.
The light.
The part
of the light.
The light is the aura of the self.
It's like a mirror.
Hmm?
A mirror. The conscious mind is a mirror for the pre-conscious mind.
You see, when I say mirror, it becomes one-sided. That's the point. That's why it is not one-sided. It is all-sided. If you just use as a mirror, then it has to be one side. It's not like that. It is on all sides. The aura is on all sides, or you can say it falls onto the edges of the conscious mind, of the preconscious mind, and the subconscious mind in the center, in the conscious area. But that's the life part. The conscious mind itself, the conscious itself, mind has no meaning if you are not aware. The conscious mind can sleep off if you are not aware of the light. So that light which is coming to you, the self from self. Now human beings have that light much brighter than the animals have. That's why I call it a light, and not only the conscious mind. Because the animals also have the conscious mind. But your light is different from their light. Your awareness is much higher and is built up. How? By developing your chakras. So, for example, we can say, or if you can say, yes, even reflection, you can say that in the center is the light, all right? And all the sides are reflected. Then you can use the same way. And supposing this is the conscious mind, four walls of the conscious mind. So the light is in the center, and the light is reflected on these walls. Now, the conscious mind of the human beings, supposing are these walls, and they are evolved and developed to such a point that they see what wrong they are doing. They can see for themselves. If they keep these walls clear and clean, the conscious mind, that means you are alert about what you are doing with your conscious mind. Then you keep these walls absolutely clean, then the reflection is very clear. But still, there is no rapport established between the wall and the light. Vice versa. I mean, this way it is. For light knows the walls. Walls also know there is a light which knows about everything. But the rapport in the sense that the light cannot do anything about the self and self cannot do about the light. Did you follow that?
But the wall.
Okay. But that light exists. It exists. It tells you the reality. It tells you this is what you are. Here you are. This is your position. This light is telling you. This is the Kshetra, the one who knows the truth. The one who is, it tells you. It makes it clear cut idea to you that you are here. This you have got the spots on the wall. You have got spoiled your walls. There is no reflection properly coming, or there is reflection coming if you are all right. Now, the better you are, the better is the light, and there is no conflict actually going on. That's why I say to be in a center. Now, you can say that the attention, say, is in the walls. Your attention is spread on the walls. All right. From there, it acts. It acts inside and outside. The attention acts outside as you know. It's very easy to act outside. But inside it acts only as far as knowing that I know everything what I feel. Did you follow that? Attention is on the walls. Human attention is on the walls. This attention knows that there is a light inside. And it puts that light, I mean, as far as possible outside also it can extend its light outside. In the sense that supposing a person he is not realized, but he is having trouble. So his life is controlled by no problem. He doesn't have any conflicts. He's happy. He's a nice religious man. And she knows there is light, she knows. And there's no conflict between the light and himself. So the aura is absolutely nice. Now, suppose if there's a conflict between this and this, the aura will be disturbed. But actually there's no disturbance in the light itself. But because of these walls, it may be looking disturbed. See, because you see, when the light is falling on something, like you see the water, and if the water is not steady, you see it's moving up. Alright? So like that, the attention is here. Attention, if it is unsteady, then the image you get is blurred of the light. And the light that you throw outside, becomes a blurred image of that light. Alright? So now we are coming to the conscious mind. Conscious mind is the one in that area which is a very short time, very short time. Between the future and the past is just a little time, very little time. It's called as Vilam in the Sanskrit language. It's a very, very, very small little time. And we cannot stop there. So that area, suddenly you touch you can say, the light. And then you see. So then you know what it is. Then again you are thinking about the past. Or you think about the future. That time you know what you are thinking. But then you come to the conscious area and you know, oh, I've been thinking like that. I should. Because you are moving all the time on waves. In between these two waves is the conscious mind. Little, very little area is there in the beginning. Alright? Now below that is the unconscious mind, you can say. Actually it is above, but we can say below. Just now to explain. Like the waves rising this way, that way, in between there's little gap. And there where in the conscious mind you are touching that light of the unconscious mind. So that unconscious mind, what we call as unconscious mind, is that aura or the light of the self. So every moment you are conscious of your unconscious mind. Conscious in the sense that you know that the unconscious mind moves, that's what. It's really remarkable how it's made. For example, you can say like that, you come out from one way, oh, if I will see. Oh, yes, I know that what I'm thinking. Then again you go on thinking. Again you come to the conscious mind. Oh, yes, I know what I'm thinking. Unconscious mind. This is the light of the unconscious mind. You can think like a waves. Alright, you follow the that?
Yeah.
Try to follow to see anything nice. Now questioning you don't ask. Just now try to follow the one. Because it's a subtle subject. And if you have to understand the subtle, see, I have to use analogies which are not subtle. So in analogies, don't get lost. I'm just trying to tell you how to understand what is the unconscious mind within us and where do we stand as far as the conscious mind is concerned. The edge of the unconscious mind is the unconscious edge of it. And there is attention also. Now what happens? You are moving, say your attention. Now attention, just see the attention is moving, say you can take it to the future or to the past. Now the attention goes like that. And at the conscious mind, suddenly you know, oh, you become aware of it. Your attention becomes aware, oh. Otherwise you are just thinking like that. But when again you touch at the conscious mind, again you become aware. Again you move like this, then you are lost. Again you become conscious. Now this light is coming from where? Is from the self. Where is the ego and where is the super? In this. Now this wave is the past and this is the future. So all the time you are moving from past to future like that. But in this jumping there's a little time in between where you are conscious. And whenever you are moving from one to another, before realization, I'm saying all this I'm telling you about before realization. You are conscious that there is something underflow which is moving where how we are jumping, either this or that. You are going this way, that way, this way, that way. all the time. See, forward, backwards, whatever it is. But you are moving this way. Now, the movement of the conscious mind, you can see, but it's a split of a second. Just a split of a second before realization. Did you follow this point or not? First of all, make it very clear. So we move to another point. Attention is moving, which is on the edge. You see, attention is, you can say that attention is another light, or you can say another sort of a, which is the human side of it. You see, which is moving from their energy. You can say the attention is another energy, which is moving like this on the edge. It is generated from your liver. This energy is generated from your liver. And it comes out. And it is just like a very thin edge, you can say the attention. So the attention is recording where are we. But when it touches the conscious mind, it becomes conscious of what you are. This is me. Maybe when you are stealing, you are not conscious. But when you have stolen, suddenly you come back, oh, I did that. You become conscious. So the attention is moving like this, which makes you aware of that. Now, the human attention has been evolved as the edge of the pre-conscious and the subconscious. You follow this point or not? On the edges. The human attention, yes, लाया, क्या हालत है, कैसे हैं, और बीमार हैं, बिस्तर में रहते हैं, फिर अच्छा, कब हुआ था उनको? अच्छा, आई, just to explain to you. This is the unconscious mind here, all right? And this is the right hand side, is what you call the conscious mind, and this is the subconscious mind. The attention is in between, you see, connected with the unconscious mind, as you can call it actually. But this unconscious mind, in the animal I'm showing it. Just to show you, it's the unconscious mind I'm showing it. But actually, you know, the unconscious mind is a part in the Kundalini and part out there. So it is just to show you, I'm saying you can call it the aura of the Kundalini. But now here it is easier to understand. In the human being, what happens is like this. Alright? It is like this, attention is spread out throughout. And this area, as enlarged, it's not such a big area, just enlarged. This is the area of the consciousness, which is a very small area. And this is part is the ego and the super ego. And this line is the consciousness.
This is in the head.
No. This is in the human being with a collar, the complete thing I'm telling you, Ida is there. This is the pingla, this is the Ida. At the end of that, is here and inside is the conscious mind. This is a very small area. Now what happens? That here is the Kundalini. Alright? That is also the unconscious mind, part of the unconscious mind. And here is the unconscious mind, about which we are not conscious. I've shown you here is the self. And the self, the Sadashiva's seat is here. This sees. From here it sees all over. It comes up. Your spirit comes up, goes around and sees you. It is on your head. It taps on your head. Mostly on in your heart. And it is watching you around. It knows. It is all the time knowing about you. And this light that is here, we are also aware that is there. We know that this light is recording. We are aware of it. All the time, we are aware that this light is trickling down and there's a little glimmer of that light coming in that little gleam of light you can see in the consciousness. So we are aware that this light is moving around. What we do is to, by raising the Kundalini, is that attention gets attached. Or pushes this out and take this attention into this. So a rapport is established between the spirit and the soul. If you can think, if you can make it a small one, the Kundalini is small. But supposing I made a big one. So the Kundalini rises, touching the attention like this, all over. Both of you, focusing, becomes one.
Because the attention is on the whole nadi, from the Muladhara up to the bottom. It's
Yeah.
not in the mind.
What?
The attention.
No. Attention is not in the mind alone. Attention is all along. And it's generated through your. It's generated. I mean, it is not generated, we should say, but we can say it is sort of looked after or maintained or attained to through your liver. But you see, the evolution of mind, as the mind grows up, this attention becomes improved. In an animal, attention is not like this. He is just a straight line from here to here. In this, the attention becomes wider, bigger, and intelligent. It has both the things fully developed. In the animal, it's just a few layers developed there. And that in the straight line. You see, this doesn't come up from an animal. This is ego and superego when they make this thing for itself. Because of this, see, closing down, it develops its own awareness. By closing down, it develops itself. As Gregor said, it as an egg. So this is the crust that is formed and it develops within itself. So it is developed. Now for developing this, you use your ego or superego. But if you do it in equal way, keeping to the center, so there is no increase on this side or that side. Now what is the ego? Is a bulge out here. And what is the superego? Is a bulge out here. It goes up like a bulge here, like a horn. That's what bulge like. Understand? Now, no use pushing it down or doing anything about it. What you should do is to put attention in the center here. Center. So, because of dharma is the one which keeps the bulge there, see, attached to it. So, the proper growth process up to the navi is the bulge. Then the wisdom and all those things go out. And you keep it. This is a proper sensitive person. But normally it is not. Normally, it is the question will be like this. And this one just hanging out. Normally the person is not like this. This comes up like this. I mean, in the West, I'm saying, and it's attached like to a baby like that. This one is a rudimentary. Now, where do we take out? Here, this one. It's like that. So now you understand what I mean. Now, is it clear now? Attention, supracom. It's a difficult subject. It's a difficult subject. You understand? Mentally. Then above, the God's attention is not like this. You see, your attention is much more directly like that an animal's attention is, as you realize. But God's attention is manifold, dynamic than yours. So when you become with that, see, that attention becomes your attention. It starts flowing through you. So it forms another layer. That is the God's attention. And you start getting your attention. First time you start in the conscious mind, it starts flowing. And you develop that sort of a sheath here, you can say, and you start feeling the vibration. But again, when you go this way a little bit more, it stops. Or this way more, it stops. Again, you bring it in the center and gradually allow the space to be more. Now, this is what is the surrender. Is the space more there? Because you don't allow this to work out or this to work out, but just allow a space. So it starts opening out. And the light starts working.
It's like in Indian music. When they go like that and they come back to the note. That you just did this now.
Some. That's what it's called as summer. Summer means actually equal. Summer. But when they come to that point, see, to the first point, in the Indian music, you see, they'll go on like 14 knots, you see, like 16, say, 16 beats. They'll go 16 into 10. But again, they'll come back to the same point. You see, this same must meet with the same, and that's it. So sum is equal. That point, everything was fine. And when all this is opened up, actually, here I've shown it like that, but if you put the chakras connected, his attention goes and is actually connected with the chakras here. You see, so the Kundalini passes through the chakras. You can see that it's a chakra here, and a chakra here, and a chakra here, and a chakra here. When you allow the space to increase more, see, then what happens? These chakras also open out. In these chakras, your own deities are there. They have their own thing, and they are one with it. So it works in your nature. And that's why the integration. But this spacing, leaving this space itself means surrender in the normal understanding. Because the dynamic is there. Dynamic is all pervading, it is working out. Alright? It is all good. It is working out its job. It is correct. But the problem is your attention has not grown that subtle is to enter it. When it becomes that subtle, only human beings can become that. It opens out. Actually, the Kundalini adds that subtleness to it. And she brings it down. And that subtleness gives you a aligning of subtleness. And that becomes one subtle with this. And it starts passing through that subtle areas vibration starts. The more you open out this part, you become one with this. So what? You become the self. Now this self, yeah, this self is the nucleus in the body. And that body is a cell in the bigger body. Alright? So you become one with all pervading force. That is the will of God. Which is known to this self, the nucleus. Every self knows what God wants, fully, completely. So as soon as you allow your knowledge, so-called, to drop out a little bit, the real knowledge starts moving. And then, oh, you can order about it. And you can say whatever you feel like. But because of this, an ancient stuff with you, the lining being the new one, see, it's difficult to identify that lining fully with this. If you could, then you would be just there, no problem of clearing anything, it's all clear. This light, when it flows, it passes through all the chakras, comes out. First, the Kundalini comes out. She opens the chakras, makes the place, opens it up. Also, by her coming up, you see there's a little lining comes up. But when this starts pouring down, it covers this much more. But it doesn't cover directly like that, but through the chakras it passes. That's why your chakras are clear. Because the passage is through the chakras, there's chakras here, all over the chakras here. Alright? Did you follow this? Michael, how are you feeling? Put it straight. Put it straight. It's cold, very cold that hat. You can take it out. You take it out. It's alright. Close the door. Yes. Now, if you're asking, sorry. So, today, as we know, that is the day of Mohammed Satsu. And we have to understand that all these incarnations came at different times. They all came at different times. And they came as a continuous process of evolution of life. No question of conflict or anything in that. No question. You see, human beings can't understand. Because they create conflict, they give conflict. This thing, closing down. So they just came on this earth, nobody's property. They came as incarnations on this earth. All of them. He came after Christ. See his position. Because Christ came as an incarnation, which was the Son God, the Son aspect of God. And he taught forgiveness. And the Christian doctrine has called it the suffering that the Christians must suffer. So all those Christians must suffer. This sort of a thing just branded on you. Then anybody kills you, you should accept killing. Anybody wants to hurt you, you don't accept. You must suffer. Even if you don't suffer, you should inflict suffering on yourself. This funny doctrine, you see. Everybody was surprised. From where did they get it? Christ did not suffer. He cannot suffer. How can they suffer? If he could suffer, then how was he the Son of God? It was just a drama. Actually, his message was resurrection. But the Christians started using it as a suffering. So they said, oh God, now what to do? So we have to send somebody else. Now whom do we send? Someone who will be able to teach them. That's not suffering. You have to defend. You have to fight. How dare they make you suffer? Like I said to somebody from Muktananda to my program, horrible fellow he was sick. He came and he started saying all kinds of things there. So the surgeon got angry, Modi and all that. He said, we teach you. Don't stop. He started saying, oh, you are like this, you are like that. He said, you don't say it to our mother, otherwise we beat you. He said, you are so joking. And you should bear it. He said, Jolly will they'll bear you out. Throw him out. I said, just now, and give him 2 days. Just now you throw him out. If you had said anything to Christ's mother, you would have taken the same cross and hit all of them nicely. That's why it was arranged that nothing should be said about Christ's mother, because that would be the sensitive point. On that point, he would never have compromised. So this foolish idea that all the religious people should suffer. And then why the religion? Why should you have the religion? I mean, if you have sufferings on account of religion, better not have such a horrible religion. You see, it is like purchasing sufferings. No. Where did it say? I don't know. Where in the Bible they said that all the Christians must suffer? I don't know what point to get from where.
It is reported in the Bible that Jesus said to a young man, if you want to follow me, take your cross, or something like that.
Alright, that doesn't mean that you suffer. If you want to follow me, take your cross. Now what is cross? Is a symbol of innocence. I say take your cross because you see, if you are coming here as you have to be molded, you have to be brought to the proper balance. So you little bit suffer. When you try to test others' vibrations, you do get little bit. carry our crosses. Now, what is your cross? I mean, absurd. I tell you, whole understanding is so absurd. See, you make such a great personality into nothing, absolutely. You see, he came here to teach you to suffer. I mean, can you think of such a thing? I mean, I don't know what brains and what intelligence all your these great priests are using to say that he came here to teach you to suffer.
They probably have trouble with their liver and they feel miserable.
Huh? Yeah, what?
They probably have trouble with their liver and they feel naturally miserable, so they get something else to it.
No, no, but the preaching is that you must suffer.
Oh, yeah. I went to.
Now, even if you take like this a position, you can say that it was that if anybody says to you, just don't bother about it. Don't bother. But why suffer? Suffering means that you bother about it. Otherwise, you just don't bother.
I think it's just a rationalization of impotency. I think it's like that. Because they were unable to do anything. The priests were unable. They were seeing people suffering around. And they were not able to help them. Then they said them, accept your suffering and enjoy it. I think.
Enjoy the suffering. There is an absurd doctrine also.
The original doctrine is that you should offer whichever sufferings to God. And then it got twisted out that you have to feel miserable. But the original idea was
Suffering was like tapas or something like that.
that whatever suffering comes to you, you have to accept it and offer it to God. I mean, some people do still teach the right thing, but most people just think they have to feel miserable.
You see, it is, I wish we should say even offering or anything. You see, it's God's name or God itself. It's a balm. You see, you have pain in the stomach when you put hand towards me, suppose. You get all right. Now, what are you offering to me? I'm not doing anything. It's just a different thing altogether. See, suffering and God are two different things. God is the one who balms your suffering. What is that when you hear sound? Does it say you suffer? Where, which one is such a great thing that such a big doctrine has come up from where I don't know that we all should suffer. It is all the time promised. Even those who are suffering will be blessed are those.
But there was no actualization of the promise until now.
If you wouldn't have come, okay, and we
Why
are
wouldn't
suffering.
I have come?
Okay,
I mean, why?
let's say one life earlier.
So supposing that you had not come,
No, let's say one life
you
earlier.
would have understood what Christ was about.
We are suffering because there is a mess around. The only way we can bear it, we don't see any issue. The only way we can bear it is in thinking that our suffering has a meaning. And the only way we can think our suffering has a meaning is in thinking that
meaning is because of your mistakes or something.
that does not help.
It's a very simple thing, you know. It's very, very simple. You human beings put them on one side, God on another side. Alright? You cut each other's throats. God has told you to cut each other's throats. If there is war, then who? God has created war. Physically also, if you neglect yourself, you do all kinds of things, then you suffer. Who has asked you to read so many books? Who has asked you first of all to create so many books? What do you know to create so many books? That's it. So you see, you are doing it. So you face it also here. Did God ask you to write so many books and read them and condition yourself? Who has asked you to listen to Freud? But inside you, he is all the time talking and telling you. Not that he is giving you up. He is all the time guiding you. Only thing you should have done is to accept his advice. All the time he's telling you it's wrong. It's too much you're doing. You can even see your ego. What more do you want to see? So you know your horse is being a fast one. So why not take it a slow one? You know you are missing your target. Why not slow it down? Did God tell you all these things the way you are making yourself with something? Now this girl has her husband has met an accident. The one who has committed the accident. Did God tell him you go and commit accident? He must be going somewhere in a hurry. He must go. No, no, but the preaching is that you must come.
Oh, yeah. I went to.
Now, even if you take like this a position, you can say that it was that if anybody says to you, just don't bother about it. Don't bother. There is God. And also we know that He is reflected in us, in our heart, as spirit, as atma, as self. Now, when we know about the three channels that are working within us of Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, and Mahasaraswati, the three powers of Ida, Pingla, and Sushumna, which create the subconscious, pre-conscious, and the conscious mind, are working in our consciousness. That means we are conscious of them. We are conscious of our left and right, that is Ida and Pingla, sympathetic nervous system. We are not conscious of the parasympathetic. That means that we can increase the rate of our heart, we can increase the rate of our breathing, but we cannot decrease. The decrease, or what you call the lowering down of the rate, is done by parasympathetic. So the parasympathetic is active, but we are not conscious of it in the sense that we have no control over it. The spirit, that is God, which is reflected in us, resides in the heart. The manifestation of spirit in our heart controls the parasympathetic. But this spirit is the reflection of God Almighty in our heart, as if in a mirror. And divine love, which is the light of God, is reflected in us through the reflection of the spirit as the unconscious mind. So within us there is an area about which we are not conscious. That is why it is called as unconscious. That area lies so far away from our conscious mind that we cannot control it. We are not conscious of it. But it acts through parasympathetic activity. How it acts, I will give you a simile. Supposing there is a power works somewhere and it is acting through this light over here. You don't see the power work or the factory or wherever the power is created. But what you see is the manifestation here. And you see the light. But supposing you do not see the light, nor the lamp, nor the factory.
but you are affected by it. That is the situation of a human being. A normal human being who is not a realized soul is not aware of that factory which is God or the light it has got, is not aware of the lamp that he has got in his heart, and is also not aware of the light that the lamp is emitting. But it is acting. So the unconscious mind is nothing else but the projection of God's will through the light of divine love. I've given this simile again and again, which is very good and apt, that these two powers that are within us, one on the left, another on the right hand side, are there, and we are conscious of them and we use them. Out of them, the right, we use it in absolute awareness. Left one, we know, is used as subconscious mind, and sometimes if you take drugs or if you do something like that, then you go to your subconscious also. So you can become aware of the subconscious area also. So you are aware of the right hand side already, and you are aware of the subconscious sometimes when you try to get aware of it. So these two powers that are within us are all the time vibrating in a wave. And the points at which they meet, they create the throb. Or you can say the center. Center is created, a deity is placed. But there is no light for us to see or to feel or to be conscious of the deities. Deities are fast asleep. When the Kundalini rises, now Kundalini is the subconscious. You'll be surprised that Kundalini is a Mahakali power. She is absolutely pure in the purest form. Because she is not used. We can say part of it is used in us, our subconscious. Sort of we have kept some water separately, which we have not used so far. So first of all, we use the subconscious water and the preconscious water. And we dirt it. We exhaust it. Then the stored up power rises and does the last cleansing. But when she rises, she creates a third current. Still that third current, when she's rising, doesn't have the light. But when it reaches the Sahasrara and pierces it, then it becomes one with the universal consciousness. Because what is God is the one who controls the universal consciousness. He is the controller of the universal consciousness. He emits the light. And when this Kundalini rises, it gets that frame on it. So now all the deities get awakened. Now you may say that it is in the heart, Mataji, you are saying it is here. There's a confusion, people think. But actually it is all pervading. Say God is a nucleus, you can say, or a factory, which has the light all over and is reflected in the heart. So when your Kundalini, a particular individual Kundalini, touches that, then this light takes place. Then in the heart, the spirit is ignited. Or sort of it emits, it manifests, it projects. And its projections are these vibrations. So through this you know the will of God. Through this you have a dialogue with God and you understand Him, what He wants. And what does He want you to know? There are three qualities of God which you can feel through this. One, what is the truth? You ask any questions. If you are asking for something, and if it is in yes, then you'll get too many vibrations. If it is in no, vibrations will low down. That's how you can verify what is right, what is wrong. What is the truth, what is not the truth. Now you can know. Nobody has to tell you. You don't need any clergyman or anybody to certify it. It is there through your vibrations. You can feel it. Is this the truth or not? Is it the correct place you have come to or to the wrong person? Then also the various combinations and permutations of these, you see, it is true. But still, there's a little point which is wrong in you. For example, if you say that Christ was resurrected in person, yes, that's true. You will get more vibrations. But if you see now that if you say, is it Mataji, the mother of Christ? If you do not accept it, you will not get it on the first level. You see for yourself.
त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री महालक्ष्मी महासरस्वती महाकाली त्रिगुणात्मिका कुंडलिनी साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री कल्की साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माता जी, श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। ॐ त्वमेव साक्षात् श्रीकल्की साक्षात् श्रीसहस्रार स्वामिनी मोक्षप्रदायिनी माता जी, श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः।